Yo, what's going on? What's happening, everybody? What's happening? May peace and power and elevation be to all you beautiful folks out there. This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So today, as you can see, the title of the subject is called the anti-African rhetoric. Now, there's a reason why this subject is here, okay? Because we got to talk about all the anti-African rhetoric that is happening, especially within the so-called conscious community, especially with those who you would think have the thorough knowledge and have the understanding that been doing all these studies, they've been teaching people all this stuff, and then they come along with the anti-African rhetoric. So it's very problematic. And this is really the time to really have a conversation because there's a lot that's really going on. We just recently saw a video of a brother out in Memphis, Tennessee, who was beaten by five police officers who happened to be black. Five black police officers beating on one black man while he was in handcuffs. And a few days later, he ended up dying. This is the time because now we got to get really brutal and honest about a lot of shit. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, they still work for white supremacy. But this is like the whole nother level. This is where we got to really be honest. And not many people ready for this conversation. But we're going to talk about a lot of things that's going on. We're going to talk about the anti-African rhetoric, and then we're going to talk about this situation. So I got my dear friend with me, a dear brother who I brought on the platform. So he reached out to me, and he's part of Team Osiris, but he's also a very enthusiastic brother. Like, he's very into studying history. He's into studying African history at that. This brother is powerful. I mean, I don't know if anybody ready for this brother right here. So I'm going ahead introducing my friend, my dear brother, Malik Kamara. Go ahead, brother. Peace. How you doing? What's up?
Peace and love, sis. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. That's what's up. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
Thank you.
It's been a
Nah,
minute.
we all one, man. We got to get the people right, man. It's all love.
Yes. Yes. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Big Cree Money. Shout out to Sister Sajada. Shout out to Salam Alaikum. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. There's been a lot going on.
Hmm.
Um, it's a lot that's going on. So, let's talk about the whole. First of all, before we get into the anti-rhetoric, right, or talk about what's
Uh-huh.
going on in the conscious community, let's talk about the
Hmm.
situation that happened in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah.
yeah, so there's the video circulating of the brother getting beaten on by five police officers. Happened to be
Hmm.
black. And when I
Hmm.
saw the video, I'm not even gonna lie, I was disturbed. And I'm just sitting up there. I hear these guys call him all kind of motherfuckers, call him a bitch, tell
It
him
was
get his ass
disgusting.
on the ground. Oh yeah, all kind of names.
Hmm.
And they beating the hell out of him, like throwing punches at him and tasing him while he's in handcuffs. Eh, Man, I'm gonna let you
Hmm.
go ahead and get your thoughts on it first, and then I'm gonna get my thoughts on it.
Um, like I tell people, white supremacy is a system. It don't have a color anymore. Especially if you're in the New World, you're in the West, you're in America or South America or wherever you at in the Western Hemisphere. White supremacy don't have a color anymore. It's a system. Even on the continent of Africa, it's a system. That's why when a lot of our brothers and sisters come over here, they don't understand what we talking about when we talking about the white man this and the white man that. The reason why is because over them is neo-colonialism. It's somebody that look like me and you oppressing them, but it's still white supremacy because the white boy set it up before he left. So everybody from the hood knows, Tip, you know,
Yeah,
a cop is a cop.
you're right.
Most black cops, when I was in the streets, most black cops that I ran across, they was just as bad or worse than they white partners. It's a system. The police are like a gang, like Tupac said back in the day. The police are the biggest gang in America. They take oaths. They always talking about when they say back the blue. it's black cops back in the blue too. They don't. It's a system, man, and it's a lot of self hate going on how they was treating that brother too, and a lot of self hating Negroes get involved in the police forces and stuff. And I ain't talking about all of them. I
Hmm.
ain't talking about all of them because I got brothers I went to school with as police officers, so I ain't gonna disrespect all of them. But most, the whole system that's set up, a lot of them dudes got a lot of self hate before they get involved in that profession to begin with. And that video was sad. So, yeah, that was bad.
You right about that. You right about that. You know what? Let me say it like this. And then y'all gonna be mad. People gonna get mad. Y'all gonna get mad. But you know what? I see this no different than how we do each other on the streets. Let me tell you why. If you take away the badge, right? If you take away all their badges, you would just see a bunch of, and I'm gonna say a bunch of niggas jumping on another innocent person. I mean, that's just what you see. That's what you see.
For real.
Yeah, them niggas, just niggas jumping on an innocent person. It's like you looking at a gang, like somebody trying to get initiated or something. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. They trying to prove a point, trying to prove what who run it, who own the turf, who run the turf, or who run this neighborhood, etc. That's what
Yep.
I saw when I looked at the video. That's
And that
exactly what I saw.
and, and not to cut your wisdom, sis. And that's why I posted the other day. These Negroes sound crazy to me when they say we need more black cops in the black community. What's that going to help? If you're not trying to change the system, the color of the cop don't matter.
Right,
It don't matter at this point because like you say, sis, we got a lot of self hate amongst ourselves. So if the black cop a self hating Negro like the next dude next door, do it even matter?
right.
Do it matter
I
what
mean,
color the cop is?
no, because they all pretty much got that same mentality. And when you look at these guys, you would think that they was some niggas that came up out the damn hood that was picked on, or you know what I'm saying, or they had to go through the process of trying to prove their point. So now they get older and they get some type of status as being a police officer. Now they gotta prove how bad they is. That's how I look at it. Like they start off as some weak ass niggas. Then they got to that level of becoming a cop. And once they got to become a cop, they feel like they can be able to have some type of authority. It's like if you watch that movie, Boys in the Hood,
Yep.
where the scene, what was the character's name? One was Trey, and what was the other guy's name? His best friend.
Oh, when he was with Ricky.
Yeah, they was out,
Hmm.
and then the cops stopped them and threw him up against the wall, and
Yeah.
yeah, the black cop was
Exactly.
basically antagonizing them. That's what
And
you basically see. You see that
yeah.
behavior, and you
Right. That's what I'm saying. Anybody from the hood know that some of them black cops just as bad as the white ones.
right,
Just
and
as
you
bad.
would think by them being black cops, they would know and they would have some form of sympathy
Hmm.
because of all the things that's been going on, with, especially with George Floyd, right? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And Freddie Gray, you would think they would have some form of sympathy. You would think they would be a little bit more lenient, a little bit more understanding, right? I mean, because they black
Right.
themselves and they would understand what it's like to be in that system and deal with the cops in the system, right? But obviously that doesn't do anything. I mean, they took it way too far. You know, if you're gonna pull somebody over for traffic, I mean, do that, but to take it to where you gotta drag them out the car and beat the hell out of them and take the bat
That's
and
it.
then spray. I mean,
And,
you just
and
took shit too damn far.
you know something, sis? I was talking to my mother about the situation earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know what she said? She said
What?
the reason they did that, they feel because everybody feel they can do that to a black person. If that would have been a white boy, they wouldn't even treated them like that.
You know,
Nah, they see that's what I'm saying. White supremacy is it's a whole system now. It's like a virus. Like people, human beings, black, white, yellow, whatever. If you want to deal with race or whatever, they feel they could treat a African or descendant person any kind of way they want to. They don't care. If that would have been maybe it would have been
oh, we
any other
got a surprise
ethnicity.
guest. We
What's
got a
up?
surprise
Who
guest
coming
coming
in?
over here. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna bring him on here in a minute. Go ahead, finish up what you were saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like, man, Even if it would have been one of our Hispanic brothers, they probably would have beat him to death. It's certain people in America that you can feel you can do anything to.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Yeah, you right. You right about that. Let me bring somebody on here. Well, what's going on, Mr. Ngoza? How you doing?
Peace. What's happening? How you doing? What's
I'm
going
doing
on?
fine. Yeah, I'm
Peace,
doing
bro. What's
good. I'm
happening?
doing good. Well, what's
Peace.
up? What's up?
What's happening?
Peace. Come on, what's up? You looking
Congratulations.
good. You looking
Mashallah.
peaceful. You looking very peaceful. Like you just got done praying or meditating or something.
No,
Like
no,
he
no,
just
not
so
yet.
look, he just looks so calm. Look at him. He just so calm. So Ngozi, as you can see, we talk about anti-African rhetoric, but we want to. I want to get your input on the whole thing that went down in Memphis, Tennessee. I know you kind of kept over the story where the brother was beaten by 5 police officers who happened to be black. They beat him to the point that he ended up dying in the hospital. And I just want to know, like, when you saw the video, I don't know if you did see the video, but if you saw the video, what was your whole intake on that? How do you feel about it?
um, when it comes to law enforcement, it's only one color, and that's blue. I don't get involved with the systematic. I mean, we should be involved, but the mentality of a police officer is that they're doing their job. They're policy men, so they look at it like I'm just doing my job. It's not a color thing. They didn't give a damn about that, man. The idea of black awareness, the way we used to think, no longer exists. America creates individuals. This is what's going on. And if you're not aware of your ancestry, or you're not aware of who you come from, you become part of the of what America produces, individuals, and the country's based off capitalism, and no one cares. It's about them doing their job. So those black men or those black cops or supposed black men or black cops are fucked up people who wasn't race conscious, who's not race aware, and we should even try to think as if they should have been aware because they're not. They're not aware. It's not about them shouldn't be aware or should they not be aware. They're not aware of their blackness or their identity. These are cops. They didn't give a damn. They probably would have beat the shit out of him, and may he rest in peace, if they was with one white cop or two white cops. It's part of the job. You get what I'm trying to say? They didn't care about him being black or the black struggle. They don't give a damn about George Floyd or anything that went on in this country. They all about, I got to get mine. I'm working a job. I'm doing a job. This dude is being a little bit aggressive. He has a little bit he's being a little authoritative. Problematic shit. So the thing is that they're gonna get tortured. They're gonna learn, that they're not the other people that they present themselves to be. In the sense of, the color spectrum in America still exists. So it's certain shit that people can get away with that you would never be able to get away with, even if you think that the lines is blurred. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, it was a messed up situation for the brother, and may Allah guide his soul. But the police, they pigs. That's what pigs do. That's just what it is. It's not as if they were trying to do. Oh, you my brother, we gonna let him go. No, they was on bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The African consciousness, Pan Africanism, and I don't even want to just base it off there. Just being black and aware. That shit don't mean nothing no more. It don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. The average black person ain't thinking about their ancestors. The average black person in America not thinking about what they people went through. The average black person in America don't give a damn about where they come from or none of that no more. So we have to look at these people as ops, as I said before. They all ops. It's fucked up,
Yeah.
And we're
Let
gonna
me
see more cases of this. Mm-hmm.
let me ask y'all some personal question. I want to start with Malik.
What's
Well,
up?
I want to ask both of y'all. So, what was y'all is have y'all ever experienced police brutality? Coming up when y'all was younger in your younger days, and all the way up to the current. Like, and how did you guys? How did it make you guys feel? How did you guys go about just knowing that you dealt with those things from the police
I ain't. I haven't dealt with police brutality firsthand.
or
I've
racial
seen it.
profiling?
Oh, racial profiling. Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
all
meant
the
to say.
time. Yeah. Uh, hell, since I was 10 years old. I'm a big dude too, so they always thought I was older. So yeah, all the time. I couldn't go in the store by myself. They think I'm stealing, all kind of shit. It just lets you know who the ops is. Like I ain't have to walk around confused. I already knew them people wasn't. You know. They weren't who I was supposed to be messing with. They was
Mm,
on some, you know. I mean,
mm,
I got, like I say, I got people I went to school with this in law enforcement now. So you know what I'm saying. I know what it is. Most people just going up for a job, but like bro said, it's they got one color, blue. Once you take them oaths and stuff, it's like a game for real. Like that's all it is.
mm.
So yeah,
What about you, Ngozi? Have you dealt with racial profiling? Dealt with some form of police brutality coming up in your younger
Yeah,
days, all the way up to the
yeah,
current?
yeah, yeah. I
And
dealt with yeah, I dealt with it. I dealt with it. I dealt with it from people of European descent. I also dealt with it from so-called black people. You know what I'm saying? Or what we classify as black in America. Again, yeah, I dealt with it though. Yeah, the police brutality, discrimination. Yeah, I dealt with that. I
mm,
dealt with that.
wow, wow. So, did it make you ever feel like it was like really tough for you to just go into certain areas without having to look over your shoulder and you see them standing right there, or they
I
tell
mean, I mean,
one
I
behind
mean,
you?
I mean, it's like that being amongst the people that's supposed to be my own. In certain areas, I can't go in. I mean, I'm damn if I do, damn if I don't. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right, right.
So it's like I got to deal with this with the pink people or some pink people. I got to deal with this with some of the brown people or whatever we want to call them, black. I mean, again, the mindset that I'm developing, it's not the same mentality of everybody's my color is my kind. I ain't even
Right.
on that shit no more. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'm an
Mm-hmm.
African.
Right.
I mean that shit, Tiffany. I'm an
Right.
African. And
Right.
if you ain't African, I mean, I mean, you're a op. I'm serious. Like, I don't even care if you're black. And I'm saying this because I hope people listen to the show. If you're a black American and you don't embrace Africa, fuck you.
Oh,
hey, that's real talk. That's real talk. Hey, for real, sis.
okay.
Hey, sis. Look,
Okay.
listen,
Now let me
sis.
go on to
Let
this
me say something
because
right quick, sis. Let me
go
say something
ahead.
right quick, sis. You know how they you know how they got the stereotype about our Nigerian brothers and sisters about
I
them
was
being
getting ready to ask
scammers.
some question. We're going to
Listen,
that.
sis. Listen, sis. I would unite with the biggest Nigerian so-called scammer before I unite with a house nigga African American. But go ahead, sis.
Okay, so and this is a thing that's starting to come about because we seen Tyreek post up something and people asking question whether the officers were they FBAs or the guy that was killed was he a FBA and all of that. And to me, that is very cringy. That's cringy and it's disrespectful. And let me tell you why. Because y'all worrying about the FBA and who was ADOS, this, thing, other. We looking at a situation, we talking about black on black crime. You know what I'm saying? Not who was the FBA and who's the ADOS and all of that. So why everybody is not everybody is not going to associate with that. What about the fact that this person happened to be black and happened to be innocent and happened to deal with police brutality? You know what I'm saying? And what about just dealing with that alone? Why they gotta be a FBA? Why they gotta be ADOS? Why they gotta be all this? How do y'all feel about that when y'all hear people try to make that distinction?
I mean, they all probably was FBA. He probably was FBA, and the police probably was FBA. I mean, we don't know if any of these. He probably didn't identify as an African either. The one who got killed. I'm just saying. He probably. You got people out here that don't give a damn about that. I don't know that brother's intentions or his
Right.
mentality. And
Sis,
the people.
when
And
people
the
get
people.
killed, them go ahead,
Mhm.
bro.
No, go ahead. Go
Nah,
ahead,
go ahead,
Malik.
bro. Nah, I was just gonna say when people get killed in my neighborhood, like some of my friends and stuff, it's always my other FBA or whatever they call this stuff. Every time. So I don't
Yeah.
be want to hear that. I don't
Yeah.
be want to hear
Right,
that.
right. Because Tyreek now she post up a video. I mean, post up a little tweet, showing the pictures of the five cops. And he said, this must be a non FBA type behavior or something."
All of those brothers probably was FBA, Foundational Black Americans. The brother who was murdered and the police. You know what I'm saying? So if Tariq Nasheed a clown, he a clown. Like these dudes, he don't give a damn about. He don't care. He don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah. Okay, so now let's get into now we got that part out the way. Let's get into this whole anti-African rhetoric that's going on with the conscious community. Um, I have did a video on this the other day. And it's very intriguing. That's one thing when you got a group of people who say they indigenous and Hebrew or whatever. Okay, we expect that from them. But when you got those who've been teaching about the Kemet, about West Africa, about scientific literacy, and then they turn around and they call somebody super African, or use all those type of insult because of some form of disagreement they had with the individual, or because the person said something and they didn't like what that person said, especially if it's true, but they didn't like it because they don't want to hear from them. But we got this whole thing about this black African power. It's all black African power, right? But then when it come down to actually talking with a person that's of African descent, right? That's on the platform or whatever the case may be. Now it goes from that to, oh, you being super African. So let's discuss that, Malik.
Most of these dudes identify with a slave master. So I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is, man. Once you start buying into Americanism fully like that, like you ain't about nothing. You ain't about nothing. What you teaching? What you got to teach me? I mean,
But I
what you got to
mean,
teach? What you got to teach me that I ain't already learned in school? Like if I wanted to fully buy into Americanism, like we can do that, but you can't be out here screaming Black African power and then discriminating against Black Africans. Like it don't make
right.
sense.
I mean, because to me it's unorthodox. Like, you don't went through the transition of getting people from learning about Kemet, and they went from learning about Kemet to learning about West African, right? And now you're antagonizing somebody who's from the continent. You know what I'm saying?
But
And
sis, this the trick though. Most of them people you talking about, they don't know nothing about West Africa. They don't know anything about West Africa. Nothing at all. And then you see how they discriminate against the West African. So what's that
right,
telling
who
you?
happened to
It's
be from
self hate.
Liberia?
It's self hate. Yeah, he's from a country that so-called African Americans started. Think about that now.
Right.
So so man, that's what I'm saying. So it's self hate. Just like the same thing with the police situation. That's the same thing going on the internet with the FBA and the ADOS. It's the same. It's self hate.
I mean, cause yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. But it's like, well, then if it's such self hate, then why are you still stuck on it? And why are you still fixated on talking about Kemet, which is in Africa or in Nubia? You know what I'm saying? If you gonna go through that process of not identify with being African, or you telling this individual that they not your brother, you know what I'm saying? And you don't identify with them or whatever the case may be, but you still fixate on the subject about Kemet and Nubia. That it just makes no sense. I'm trying to. I mean, there's no connection with that. How do you draw a line on that?
I mean, as far Kemet and Nubia, of course, they African civilizations. But I hate to say this, Kemet puts you at Kemet was a transcontinental country. So
Right.
even then, if you got self hate, Kemet still keeps you at in proximity to whiteness, kind of. Not saying that the people in Kemet was white, because I'm not saying
Mhm.
that, but they had more ties with people in the Mediterranean and people like that. So it still puts you in it still puts you in ties with capitalism and Americanism at the end of the day.
Right.
People scared of black sub-Saharan West Africa. So it's sad. They scared.
But how can't you be scared if you embrace it so much, right? And you say you love being African.
Most of them embrace Kemet. They embrace Kemet. Remember that now. Most of them.
Okay,
How
yeah,
many
you
people?
got
How many people on that show really embrace West Africa?
very rare.
That's what I'm saying. And how do a West African get treated when he come on there? Self hate,
Well,
man.
right. What we witnessed, and then the part was that the brother was very calm. He was very respectful. He did not use any. He didn't name call. You know what I mean? He didn't antagonize any of them. He would just stay in his position, and it went totally left. And one brother who, and this is funny, cause and correct me if I'm wrong, but this brother once said that Egypt was the cradle of civilization, right? Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're
Okay.
right, sis.
So now you say that, and this individual, right? And I think if I remember, his position was on Egypt being the cradle of the civilization and all of that, or as far as the was it agriculture and the pastoralism is concerned. All right, so I'm talking about the brother from Liberia. That was his position. So the brother that called him super African, who kept saying super African, super African, super African, he kept yelling it over and over again. And I'm thinking to myself, well, dang, wait a minute, I heard you saying that before, but you wouldn't say this about Dr. Ben. You wouldn't say that about Dr. John Henry Clark. You won't say that about Dr. Charles Finch. You won't say that about what's his name, Jean Mboli. You won't say that about Theophile Banga, right? You won't say that
Right.
about neither one of these people. But you got a brother from the continent, right, that comes on here trying to dialogue and trying to have a bill with y'all, and y'all result to calling him super African.
It's sad. Those are sis, it's sad. This is the thing about this community, though. Notice the same people we talking about when it's time to come against Moors and come against Hebrews and people like that. They super African then. They beating up the Hebrew. They beating up the Moor. Oh, we African. They super African. But when it's time to actually deal with people that's on the continent or people in the Caribbean or even people that's African centered here in the States, it's a problem. People still really anti-African and they use Africa to hide it. It's all about cash apps, sis, and views. It's all it's about.
Right. I mean, and my thing is, ain't no such thing as being super African. You can't get no more African than what you are. You know what I'm saying? And even if there was a case that the brother tried to act like he was better than everybody or whatever the case may be, he can't be no more than what he is, because they have admixtures. All right, they have admixtures just like we got admixtures. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. All humans have admixture unless you're an uncontacted tribe somewhere. All
right.
humans have admixture. That don't make you less African. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, whatever super African is, I want to be super African. I want to be as African as possible. How
I
about
mean,
that?
sure, I'm damn near, I'm almost near super African. I'm like 93%. According to my ancestry, I'm 93% what, sub-Saharan.
That's powerful.
And then
That's powerful.
my other DNA say I'm 90% sub-Saharan as well. So I'm like damn near close.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's powerful. So,
right. But what baffled me is this one individual, right, who I know personally. He says that we're not West African. And I said, what, huh? What you mean we not West? I mean, where did our ancestry come from then? I mean, if we ain't West African, because last time I checked and looked at my genetic information, it said Central West Africa. I mean, maybe you don't know
same here.
yours, but huh?
I said same here.
Yeah, Central West Africa. So, I mean, and mine have a high level of Nigerian, Senegambia, Ghana,
Yeah,
Sierra Leone, and Mali.
right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So last time I checked, yes, that
Genetically, you a West African. Yeah.
right. You know what I'm saying?
See,
And
see,
then
they
I got
play.
some
See,
Angola and Congolese as well.
yeah. See, he playing games. See, it's a difference between what you genetically is and what your ethnicity is. Of course, ethnically, you're African American because you was born in America. So of course, because he playing games, nationalities can change.
Right,
You know, if I move to Ghana and have children, and them children born in Ghana and live in Ghana, ain't they gonna be West African?
right,
Ain't no difference. Ain't nobody gonna look at their fathers. Oh, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Nationality, you can't help where you born at.
right,
I mean, and we was born over here. Our ancestors came here by force. That's the only reason we was born over here. So dudes is like I said, dudes is anti-African. So that's
right.
all it
But
is.
he was saying that the reason why, because we was 250 years removed from Africa or something to that effect. Okay, but the genetics doesn't change. You could be 5,000 years removed, but your genetics won't change.
Yeah, we ain't been removed long enough to for our genes to totally just be different like that. That's why on your DNA test, what you say you 93%. You
Yeah,
haven't been here. Your
yeah,
genes haven't been here long enough to be something different.
exactly. It hasn't, and I be damn. I'm sorry, but I be damn if I have to disown, disclaim. I mean, after doing all my studies and
I
doing
mean,
all
sis,
the
it's sisters in Nigeria with the same exact DNA percentages as you, European and all. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it, you ain't been we ain't been gone from the continent long enough to be a totally different. We a different ethnicity, yes, but we genetically my most of my genes function like a man in Gambia or a man in Senegal. You know what I mean, or Nigeria. That's just a fact.
exactly. So it's like, yeah, we and you're right, brother Darren. Shout out to brother Darren. That's my dear friend right here. Shout out to brother Darren. He said 200 years is not a long time when it comes to genetics. It's not. That's not even long. That's just like that's recently. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
That's
peace to
recently.
brother Darren too. Peace to brother Darren too. He be sending me a lot of
He
information about
showed
the
he
military and
he sent
all.
me a lot. Yeah, he sent me a lot of information too. I'm gonna have to get him on here because he really know his stuff. He's really thorough in science. My thing
Yeah.
is you that's nothing. That 200 years, that's like that's not even been that long ago. Hell, Jim Crow ain't been that long ago. Let's see. The whole abolition of slavery ain't been long ago. You know what I mean? And then there was somebody post up an information about the Creole flags, the
Hmm.
Louisiana Creole flag. And I learned that like they have their flag symbol represents not only the Creole people of Louisiana, but it represents Senegal and it also represents Mali.
Hmm. That's real. Yeah, it does.
Right. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that until I took a look at it. I said, wow, that's perfect. Like that's that's a perfect combination. But we would
Our,
never
our
know that.
ancestors, our ancestors knew who they were. I mean, everything we made over here, we was naming after Africa. Our ancestors knew who they were. Who am I to disrespect them and say, "No, I'm not that. Nah, I'm an American." You listen. I don't care. You're never gonna hear me being a proud American. You'll never hear me talking, thinking like that. It's not. What happened to that brother in Memphis shows you why people sound idiotic talking like
Right.
that.
Exactly.
You sound crazy.
Right, because ain't no way in the hell. I'm sorry, ain't no way in the hell you gonna tell me that I'm American, right? And I put the African in front of it. I'm always gonna put African in front of America.
Yeah,
Why is that?
right, right.
Because
And I hear some people trying to say American, African. Nah, I don't play around like that
nah, I
either.
don't play
African,
around like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I look at myself as neo-African. And the reason why I say neo-African because we are the new wave of Africans, meaning that we came from a descendant of those that was brought here to the Atlantis, right? So we became the new wave of African. Even those in the continent, they are a new wave of African because they are byproduct of those who faced colonialism, and they were a byproduct of those who dealt with the transatlantic slave trade and trans-Saharan slave trade as well.
yeah. Those countries didn't exist. Some of them countries only 50, 60 years old on the continent. So yeah, you exactly right. Yeah, when no such thing as Nigeria when we was on the continent. So yeah, you exactly right.
Now, there's also been talks about how people feel like there is a division between information about West Central Africa and Egypt. Um, and some people feel like that creates a form of xenophobia when you say that well, let's just focus on Central West Africa and not talk about Egypt. Or what I'm saying, or when you focus on Egypt, you know what I'm saying, you're not focused on Central West Africa, that's xenophobia. My thing is, well, why can't everything be all connected? Why it can't be focused on Egypt? Well, first of all, we should be focused on transatlantic slave trade, Central West Africa, right? And the kingdoms over there. And learn about the Bantu culture. And not only the
Yes,
Bantu culture, also Egypt. Why we can't put all that together?
yeah. I mean, I'm a Pan African. I study the
Right.
whole continent. Now, what I will say though is that in the so-called conscious community, some people have been focusing on Egypt entirely too long and too much. And I'm not saying don't teach it and it shouldn't be taught because it should be taught. I got $300 books over here on Egypt, so I love the Nile Valley. So,
Hmm.
but a lot of people don't even know nothing about where we come from for real, where our direct ancestors came from. And that's sad. Like that's sad. Like I
Look,
don't,
they
I
been
don't.
taught that the ancestor was Egyptian.
Uh, nah, I mean, if you look at that, that is like a African ancestor because they from Africa, yeah, but directly, no, no,
No.
not in my nah. People, we got kidnapped from Western Central Africa, and most people in the conscious community don't know nothing about it, nothing. But see, I'm gonna get with you, and I'm gonna get with it goes, and I'm gonna really start trying to teach it more this year, for real.
Right.
It
I
need to
mean,
be
that's
taught.
the whole thing. But then that goes back to saying that the guys on that platform that disrespected that brother from Africa, they have been teaching that. They've been teaching about Central West Africa, scientific literacy, right? The African and the diaspora. So how did you come about all of a sudden you start fixing your lips up and you start having a change of heart? That's what I'm saying. I thought you was gonna teach the people the truth, but you went from this to being something totally different. Like you don't went to the whole different field behind this. I don't even know. Like I don't get it no more. I can't even keep up with it no more, man.
It's a hustle. Listen, when they are teaching, listen, most of the time when they are teaching about West Africa or even teaching about Kemet, it's to go against Hebrews and more. It's all a hustle. Hit, hit the cash out, super chat. It's all these cats about. That community, I don't know. That community anti-African, most of them.
And
Like for
it's
real.
messed
Even
up.
the ones that's
Don't
real
don't
about
do it when you got to go against some other people who are anti-African or who are very pseudo. You know what I'm saying? Do that because you're being genuine about it. Do it because that's your passion. Do it because that's what's in you. You know what I'm saying? That's what you gotta do. Do it from the heart, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it just because you going against these other group of people over here. You know what I'm saying? Because now
it.
it makes
Right,
you look crazy. It makes you look sideways. I gotta look at you sideways, like, wait a minute, bruh. Hold on, bruh, what's up,
right. See,
bruh?
sis, I like teaching and talk about Africa because I love Africa, not to go against nobody else. If some delusional person think they a Hebrew or more or Native American, I'm letting them be delusional because no one takes them
Right.
seriously anyway. Because you sound crazy. People in real academia don't take them people seriously. So, you know, it is what it is. Them people, like I said, them people, most of them people don't love Africa for real. It's all a hustle.
You
It's
right,
sick, really.
and you right about that, man. It's just it's like really messed up. It's really messed up, though. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, the scholars. Let's talk about scholars, right? There's so many scholars that are overlooked at. There are so many scholars that are overlooked at. I mean, you can find scholars in all type of academic fields, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't even get any type of recognition. We talking about people like Gerald Horn, right? We talking about Henry Louis Gates, and I know some people feel some kind of way about Henry Louis Gates, but he comes with great information.
Hey, he put out some good material though. I don't like some of the stuff he says, but he put out I like some of his documentaries and stuff. So yeah, he
And you got
definitely does.
what's the sister's name? She's so this sister, she's actually from France, but her father was Senegalese and her mother was French. Her name is Sivian Juve. Sivian Juve, that's her name. Sivian
Yeah, she
Juve.
got yeah. Hmm.
Great books. I mean, this woman is thorough when, especially when she started getting into like Islam and West Africa history. That sister is thorough. She gets down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, she powerful. Yeah, she go in. I think I got a couple of books over there.
Right, exactly. So it's like there's so many information out there. Like you can get on the internet, man. You can get on the internet. You can find this stuff. You know what I mean? You can even look up the title on YouTube, but you rather go to people like Tariq Nasheed. You rather go after Yvette Carnell, right? Now, Yvette Carnell would have been good if she wasn't being so anti-African. You know what I'm saying? If she wasn't being so anti, she would have been, because she talks great about politics and she's really on point about economics. But because when she used confirmation bias, that's where I have a problem with her at. Also, you know what I'm saying? And then you listen to people like Tyreek, you listen to all these other folks out there. I mean, it's so many stuff that you can really look up. Like you can really find good channels, good quality information. Like Home Team, they do their thing. Shout out to Home Team History. Uh F1, you know what I'm saying? What's it called? From Nothing.
For
Brother
nothing.
Jabari. Shout out to him.
Uh, shout out to Raheem, man. Wise to
Yeah,
don't.
shout out to Rakeem.
Yeah,
Shout out to brother
yeah.
Rakeem, the wise dome. Shout out to him. Powerful brother. Very powerful minded brother.
Hmm.
Shout out to him. I got big respect for brother Rakeem. You know what I'm saying? And the work that he's doing. There's so many other people out there that's doing the work, man. So speaking of that, okay, and yeah, I ain't got nothing against each one teach one. Shout out to each one teach one. Shout out to those brother over there, especially brother True Story. He really does a great job. I really
Yeah,
like brother True
yeah.
Story.
They put out a lot of. Hey, they put out a lot of information. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Brother True Story. And shout out to him and Brother Saneb. So let's talk about this. What is your whole intake on what's going on in Florida? You know, the governor of Florida got the Woke Act now, and he also don't want to go about dealing with the advanced placement or the AP of African American Studies. And he's making sure that, that's not even taught in the school system. So, what is your intake on that?
Um, it just goes with the whole thing about they've been doing for the longest about the critical race theory thing. I mean, that's Americanism. I mean, when when your whole country's infrastructure is built on a crime of enslaving people, it it, it really makes your country look bad. So if they could erase that, which they trying to, because if you start teaching the youth about it, you can erase it. 200 years from now, won't nobody even know what happened. So that's why some people like us and people with these channels, we need to be out here teaching for real, because we in a spot right now where in about 50 years they might not be teaching us in no school at all. Like I seen a video on Twitter. It was it was elementary school somewhere, and they had took all the books out the library and say they had to review them and see which ones they're gonna put back in. Like it's serious out here, and it's gonna keep happening. Like it's a quote from Malcolm X. He said, "Only a fool would let an enemy teach his children." So it's on people that really know our history to be out here trying to teach the youth. That's why I say the real work is in the streets, man. It's not on YouTube. It's not on Facebook. It's not on Instagram. It's in the streets. If you ain't out here trying to teach the babies for real, because they're not learning our history in school. Hell, Tiffany, we didn't learn it when we was in school. So if they
Right,
try to take it out completely, if they try to take it out completely, and they taking it out of high school, they're taking it out of college, man, in 100 years, ain't nobody gonna know what happened. So I'm
right.
saying,
But then,
and people think I'm crazy when I say that, but nah. Once you stop teaching the youth, once all the elders die off, who's gonna teach it? Like it's really serious out here.
you're right. You right about that. You know what I'm saying? You're right. And somebody posted up a meme, and this meme was kind of funny, but it's real at the same time. The meme says that it said that social media teaches, or wait a minute, it said that you can learn about Black history from social media than you can in school. And I
And that's
and
sad. And that's sad. That's sad, but true. But some of that Black history on social media ain't right this fact though.
right, right.
You
But
know,
it's an access. And I would say this, even the ones, and then here's another thing that gets the hell out of me: the whole pseudo. The whole pseudo term. And there are things that are pseudo. I agree, but when you constantly overuse the word pseudo,
but,
pseudo,
but see though,
pseudo, it
most
starts
of them
to sound like a
dudes,
buzzword.
most of them dudes ain't even using it correctly, sis. Because if it's not pertaining to being a science, it can't be a pseudoscience. If I'm teaching something and I'm not telling you it's a science or saying it's scientific, it can't be a pseudoscience. It's a place for philosophy. If it was a philosophy for philosophy, you wouldn't even have science technically. So I mean, somebody got to think first before they can even do an experiment. You got to have a hypothesis. I mean, a lot go into that, man. Like they don't even know
Oh,
they using the word wrong. I wish
oh,
Ngozi was still on. I wish Amir was still on because he the one introduced the word to the community, so he can
yeah,
he can break it down. He can tell
right,
you better than I could.
right. Yeah, he dipped out, but that's cool. um, but you know what? The one that got me was African spirituality pseudo. Well, okay. African spirituality pseudo, right? So then let's have a conversation. That means everything else gotta be pseudo, right? If African spirituality is pseudo, I mean, we
And,
gotta be
and
technical.
again, and see that's what I'm saying. They ignorant. So African spirituality ain't claiming to be science. I mean, I don't know I know practitioners. They're not claiming to saying that what they're doing is science.
Right,
No, it's, that's crazy. That's like me saying Christianity is a pseudoscience. Christianity is a religion. It's something totally different, man. Like this the West.
right,
It's two totally different things.
right. But then what a lot of people don't know is that science came out of the school of spirituality, and they both came out of school of philosophy.
Yeah,
And when we look
yeah,
at the history, because spirituality was like the pre-science or the proto-science, right? And someone quoted what Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson said. Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson said that our ancestors were scientists, and um, nature was their laboratory.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
one of the first people to deal with science were those who were spiritual and very religious. And I mentioned the other day, when you look up the history about the planets, right, like the stars and all of that. I mean, not the stars. My bad. Yeah, the planets like Venus, Mars, and Mercury. You will know that the names come from the Roman and Greek goddess and gods.
right. Exactly.
You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
A
And
lot, a
then
lot of scientific terms do. Go ahead.
exactly. And even like astrology, like when people deal with the study about constellations, stars and stuff, one of the people who dealt with that was those who was into astrotheology. So astrotheology deals with the worship of stars and worship of the moon and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So they basically was worshiping it, and that was their way of studying, just by giving worship to them. And but however, later on, science kind of branched off, pretty much branched off, and just tried to bring the application to what those in the spiritual community was trying to do, or those in the indigenous culture was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So they was able to bring application to some of them, and there were those that they were not able to do. So, and those that they could not do or could not prove would consider as pseudoscience, like astrology. Astrology is pseudoscience now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
you got astronomy, so you no longer need astrology. Alchemy is pseudoscience. Now you got chemistry. You no longer
Right.
need
But yeah,
alchemy.
exactly. But without alchemy, you don't even get chemistry. They made way
There
for
you
chemistry.
go.
Right.
There you go. So
Right.
it gave a pathway, and it opened up the avenues for these things. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
but you have to really study deep into that if you're going to call yourself scientifically literate, right? You have to really go deep into it, and to sit here and make another falsification that people don't scientists don't deal with God, and scientists don't deal with spirituality, that's false too in itself.
Yeah. That's
you,
false.
you can't say that, because there are physicists right now to this day, theoretical physicists at that, that's really trying to find a connection with spirituality. I mean, not spirituality, with consciousness. They're trying to see if consciousness have something to do with the concept of God, right? So they
Yeah.
trying to,
All scientists are an atheist. Yeah. That's only. I mean, people that don't really study science think that, but all scientists are atheists. I mean, that's just not true. I mean, Isaac Newton was a Christian. I mean, so come on. Like,
right,
people don't
and
study.
then Albert Einstein, what he was like a pantheist.
Yeah, he was.
He was a
Hmm.
pantheist. Um, Carl Sagan. He was into spirituality. I think Carl
Yeah,
Sagan was,
he
huh?
was a Hindu before he passed away.
Who? Carl Sagan.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got David Bohm.
Yeah.
David Bohm had a, conversation with Jadu Krishnamurti, who was an Indian, and he was a spiritualist. You see
Right.
what?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of scientists are into philosophy because they know philosophy makes way for people even thinking scientifically. So I mean, people people in this community are so closed minded and really only study. People only study what they study to be right. Like a real researcher studies opposing information too. If you're not studying your opposition, you're studying wrong. Like if I'm only studying the stuff I think is right, I'm not really studying. Well, I'm not. I got to look into what people that are against what I'm saying say too. That's how you really study. These people, like man, people crazy. They try to take people's spirit away, so it's really sad.
Right. It's really
And
sad, and we all
I
had
ain't
our
got nothing against
beginnings.
people. Yeah, I ain't got nothing against people that are atheists, but you know, uh, atheists like that ain't no worse than it's just the same as a religious zealot. Like don't push your atheism on me. You know, just like I don't want a religious person pushing their religion on me. Like, you
Right.
know,
Right, exactly. And
yeah.
we all had our beginnings. We all had our beginnings. And I put up a post the other day that the elders that people call pseudo and all of that, right? They didn't know any better. They dealt with what they was able to deal with at that time. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't really know, they didn't have the technological advances like they do today. You didn't have the DNA tests back in those days, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You didn't have the internet where you can go online look up stuff. They dealt with what they could deal with, so they was able to create an avenue for us to study more. So we talking about Carl G. Woodson, right? We talking about Dr. John Henry Clark. I mean, he was on point about a lot of things, but there was certain things he wasn't on point about. You got Ivy Van Cernema, Dr. John G. Jackson,
Hmm.
Dr. Ben. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But they create those avenues. They create those doors for us to even just not only read into their information, but if there's some information that need to be corrected, let's correct those information. But let's not just bring condemnation and throw them on the bus and say that, oh, they were just some bunch of pseudos and they wasn't about nothing, this, they, and other. Like,
The
they did what the best
thing
they
about
could.
thing about those brothers you just named, they made way for us to even be sitting on here talking about this stuff right now, Tiffany.
Right.
If it weren't for Dr. John Henry Clark, I wouldn't be on here thinking about Africa and talking about what's going on in the community and all that. Watching people like John Henry Clark and reading them books by people like that open up my mind to everything else I learned later. Like Americanism, so it's westernization. Like black people don't we don't come from that. We supposed to elevate our elders and our ancestors, not tear them down. These
Right.
people crazy.
And
That
Dr.
that goes
John,
that goes into the name of the show. That's anti tearing down your elders and your ancestors. That's anti African. I don't mess with that. I don't mess with people like that at all. That's
is that
crazy.
Is that because Dr. John, he spoke a lot about West African kingdoms and all of that. He spoke a
Man,
lot on
Dr.
that.
John, listen, Dr. John Henry Clark is the GOAT. I don't care what he got wrong. He the
Right.
GOAT to me, he the greatest. Like
Yeah,
niggas is
he was a
crazy,
griot.
bro. Yeah,
He was a
yeah,
griot.
yeah. That's exactly what he was.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Man,
he spoke a
that's
lot
why.
about the Sun God Empire. He spoke about the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire. You know what I'm saying? He knew all this stuff from memorization because, later on he was blind. So he
And he kept
memorized.
teaching. He never stopped teaching. He couldn't see and he kept teaching. So for hmm, for a nigga to disrespect a man like that, that dude, that nigga trash. Whoever would disrespect John Henry Clark, any of them brothers, they trash. In the
Oh,
community, and
yeah.
people shouldn't even be listening to people like that.
Exactly. Most definitely. As a matter of fact, I gotta get some more of his books. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
gotta get some more of his books. Cause yeah, I gotta get his book collection. But yeah, at the end of the day, the whole goal as black people, we really have to The whole goal is not only just to survive, but learn how to survive and learn about what got us here and how we got here. Not everybody's gonna be on the same path, but you'll never stop learning in life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's, as humans, we never gonna stop learning. You're gonna have to learn.
And
You're
hey,
gonna have to
sis,
learn whatever it is.
one of the critiques I've been hearing about Pan Africanism is that Africans ain't united and black people ain't united. Uh, dummy. That's why we push Pan Africanism. And like Ngozi said, I feel the same way. I'm not trying to unite with everybody anyway.
Right. That's right.
Everybody ain't your people. And that includes the people next door.
You're right.
So man, and a lot of these dudes are local, so because I got brothers in the Caribbean I build with, I got brothers back home on the continent I build with, I got
Right.
brothers in the United Kingdom and South America I build with. It's really about business, and and again, I will
Yeah.
build with any of them, or I build with some African American on the internet talking about hit my cash out and talking about Hebrews and Moors all day. For real, it's crazy. These cats
And then,
crazy, so.
and see, and the other day we was going into the information about the Moors, right?
Hmm.
So, like I was saying, there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know. If you're so engulfed into Black history in America, if you engulf about Black people in America, why don't you study about the Black history in America? Why don't you know enough? Why don't you study like in Alabama, Africa Town?
Right,
You know what I'm saying? The
right,
origin of bounce music. Uh,
right. So it's a town called Little Africa, like 30 minutes from me.
from where?
So it's like it's a town called Little Africa. It's 30 minutes from my house.
For real?
Yeah,
See, that's the thing. Like I was
yeah.
saying, like I didn't even know about the Gullah Geechee people. Like, I didn't know about the Gullah Geechee people down in Georgia and Florida area. You know what I'm saying? Until
Oh
I
yeah,
started studying. Because when I hear about the Gullah Geechee people, the first thing that come to mind is South Carolina. I
South
didn't know
Carolina.
that they
Yeah,
was running from North
they in
Carolina
North.
all the way down to
Yeah.
Florida.
I say yeah, they in North Carolina too. Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of stuff that I did not even know. I didn't know about Fort Mose. I didn't even know about Fort Negro. You know what I mean? I didn't even know about there was various Black communities, Black towns at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Right. A
Um,
whole lot of them.
yeah, a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know that a lot of people don't know that Chicago was founded by a Haitian man named Jean Baptiste Dusablé.
Hmm.
I didn't know that until some years ago, like a few years ago, like what 7 to 8 years ago. That's when I found out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Found by
shout and
Haitian
yeah, I
brother.
want to give a shout out to our Haitian brothers and sisters because they really did a lot. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Oh
those
yeah.
brothers and sisters. They really did. They contribute a lot in our community. You know what I mean? So whether you guys have whether people feel some kind of way about them or not, they really have. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh yeah.
they contribute so much.
Our Haitian brothers and sisters, our Jamaican brothers and sisters,
Right,
our Guyanese brothers. Man,
right. And
these
then
people crazy. They
you
want to be
talking about
local, sis.
you talking about the civil rights movement. A lot of them played a part in that as well. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Kwame Ture spoke with Carmichael from Trinidad, you
Originally,
know,
yes.
and he came over here and put in work for
Right.
us. So people crazy. I just don't. I don't get what's going on out here. So it's dangerous.
Right, it is. It's really dangerous. Also, yeah, a lot of them were into like communism. Like the Black people in communism. They was the one that inspired more Black people to get involved. They weren't thinking about just themselves, but they was also thinking about Black people here in America. So
Yep,
it's just like,
exactly.
man,
It's
it's
crazy out here.
it is crazy out here. So it was so much I did not know that I had to look up. I didn't even know about the Africans that came to South Carolina in 1526.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even know about that.
Oh man, hold on, sis. I got a book on that, sis. I'm gonna show it to you. You got to
Okay,
get
go
it.
ahead and show the name of the book. Yes, matter of fact, I'm a okay. So while he showing us that, what's the name of the book? So let me go ahead and write this down. Let me take the note. It's called Majority Black. Oh, okay. That looks familiar. Black Majority. Okay, by Peter who?
I didn't even know my mic was muted. So yeah, black majority Negroes in colonial South Carolina from 1670 through the Stonewall Rebellion.
Yeah. Let's see. Darren said that his grandmother was Yoruba.
Powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and he said that lady that played on Good Time, the one that played as Thelma on Good Time, she was
yeah,
from
Bernadette.
yeah,
Yeah, she grenaded. Yeah, yeah, she was.
or she is.
Hmm.
Well, she's still around.
Yeah, she is. I know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shit, it's a lot. It's so much that we don't even know, bro. Like, oh my goodness, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you gonna say that you Black American or black whatever you want to call yourself, you know what I'm saying? If you gonna focus on that, you got a lot of rich history here. You know what I'm saying? And you can't help but to find out that it traces back to Africa.
Hmm. But see that, and that's the problem though. When they say they Black American, they talking about being a black white person. That's what they talking about. They talking about being a capitalist pig or just trying to get money and hit the cash out, hit the super chat. That's all. That's what they talking about when they say American. They ain't trying to be like. They ain't trying to be like Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and because the thing about it is if we saying what's African American because the name of this country is the United States of America. So Canada is America too, and so is the Caribbean, and so is South America. All of this is the Americas.
Brother born eternal, Lord Allah said, not enough time to read and study.
Right about that.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You you gotta be I mean, knowledge is universal. You gotta be
Yes, it
universal
is.
with your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You got to be universal with your knowledge as much as possible.
That's
Um,
what John Henry Clark said. You got to study world history first. He said if you don't study world history, you ain't going to understand Black history. I don't know. So
boom, that part. Boom, that part. That part right
for
there.
real.
That part right there. That part is like you hit the nail on the coffin with that one. You really did. So before we close it out, right? What book recommendation would you give to the listening audience out there? And shout out to the chat. The chat is really going in. Shout out to the people in the chat. Brother Deshaun and Brother Darren, Bawana, um, was it Too Smooth 71? Let's see who else. Brother Darren, brother Cree Money. Yeah, shout out to the chat. So what book recommendation would you give to the listening audience and the viewers out there? That's
On what? On
regarding
any
like
subject?
Central West African history and
Oh,
yeah,
you get
something
hold
I
on.
need.
I got so many books. So hold on. Hold on.
Okay, take your
I don't
time.
want to get the author. I don't want to get the author and stuff wrong. Hold on.
Okay, take your time. Take your time. Shout out to Brother Greg. What's going on, Brother Greg? I see you. What's up? Peace, Brother Greg. Brother Easy. Shout out to Brother Easy, man. Shout out to my brother out there in the
Hey, peace.
UK.
Yeah, peace to brother Easy,
He
man.
does a great job. Shout out to him because he's on
Yeah,
his scientific knowledge. Yes. He does
yeah.
a great
He
job with
be
that.
over
One
there
day I
too.
gotta get Brother Easy on here too. I really gotta get him on here because he does a great job dealing with science and all. And we're gonna, one day build about the black brothers and sisters out there in Britain and whatnot. So
Oh
shout out
yeah,
to UK. Yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to
yeah.
you, brother.
The
Thank
Black
you for
British history is very important in Pan Africanism too, man. We got to highlight all that, man.
Oh
We
yeah,
all
we
family.
oh yeah, most definitely. Most
This right,
definitely.
I get this right here. This
Okay,
right
I
here is
got that
good
book.
stuff.
You said
You got this?
medieval? Yeah. West
Okay.
Africa. Okay.
Hmm. And I'd also get this right here. It's called West Africa.
And who was that by?
It's by Eugene L. Mendana.
Eugene. El Mendazna. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And I got one more. Hold on.
Hmm.
This one.
Okay.
This is a
Ooh.
great one right here. Yeah.
Okay. Corpus of early Arabic. Is that deal with Timbuktu?
Mali, Ghana Empire, all all the way down to northern Nigeria.
Okay. Does it talk about a little bit or go into a little bit about the trans-Saharan slave trade?
Yeah, talk about yep. It talks about this is actual like this is writings from a lot of the Arabs and that was trading with them people, with our people, with us in West Africa. Yeah, gets into it. You get to see how the outside world look at us too, and a lot of stuff. It's a great book.
Mm, that's
It's
great.
a little it's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's worth
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Born Eternal. Lord Allah said he gotta take pictures. Well, go ahead, take them pictures.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
tell
So
that.
you better
I
snap.
see
You
his
better,
name, so I know he with the God. Peace, God. Yeah, get these books, man.
yeah. So what about the ones that's dealing with spirituality?
With African spirituality or
Yeah,
just
just African spirituality or
um.
Sufi spirituality.
Hold on. Hold on. So I got you. I got so many books over there, I get this right here.
Death and the Invincible Power. Ooh. Oh shoot, hold on. Wait a minute. He got the good book. Wait a minute. Death and the Invincible Power. You gotta tell me a little bit about that. What's that book
Oh,
dealing with?
it's getting into how they looked at death in Congo spirituality and how people in the Congo, who a lot of us over here descent from, how they looked at spirituality. It
Mm-hmm.
even gets into how they looked at it even gets into modern day, how they looked at the AIDS epidemic. It gets into all that. A lot of their healing rituals and a lot. You'll like this. So it's a good book.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a
Simon
good book.
Rocky. Simon Rocky. Okay.
Hmm.
Simon Rocky.
And this right here, this is basically just what I'm about to show now. It just give you a basic overview on African spirituality. They got different essays from different authors in it.
Okay.
Real good.
Okay. Okay. African spirituality. Okay. 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 Cool. Wow. By
Real good
Jacob.
book. So
What's the name? By Jacob.
Jacob Olupana. So Nigerian brother, he put it together.
Okay.
Different essays from different authors.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, wow. You know what? There's one book I gotta get. It's called The
Hmm.
Children of Bloods and Bones.
Bones. Yeah, it's fiction, ain't it? Yeah, I gotta get that book
Yeah,
too. So
I gotta get that book because the a sister that writes the book, she pretty much, I mean, just how she got it outlined, it's pretty much like going into the story of dealing with the Ephos and the
hmm.
Orishas, but telling it in a way about the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah, I heard it's a good book.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta get that book. That's the book I gotta get. So any scientist or any body in the scientific field that you recommend that people need to read up on?
Um, Science man, get all Carl Sagan old books. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
all of them, especially Cosmos, Neil deGrasse Tyson books, of course. Um, Hell, really, man. With science, I go. I don't agree with everything Richard Dawkins says because he's an atheist. I don't agree with him 100%, but his books on evolution is really good. So I get some of his books. Um, Hell, if you're trying to understand physics, I like some of Einstein books too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you ain't got a basic understanding, though, some of this stuff might be a little over your head with Einstein, but I study it if you're trying to get into it.
Okay, okay,
That's what I
okay.
like to read. But
Okay.
my favorite science book ever is Cosmos by Carl Sagan. If ain't nobody
Hmm.
got that, get that. Cosmos by Carl Sagan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there's this channel that I look at on YouTube. I used to watch it a lot. It's called Closer to Truth.
Truth, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Closer to
I've heard
Truth.
of that
And
channel.
then also there's another one called the World Science Festival or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's another channel. Yeah, they deal with like variety of scientific topics. You talking about from biology all the way on down to physics.
Mm.
Yeah, they get into all of that. Yeah, and also I recommend people to read Brother A's books, African Creation Energy.
Grace and energy, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that brother. Yeah, I like some of that brother videos on YouTube. I be
yeah,
checking
he
them
does
out.
a great job. Yeah, I had him on here before.
Hmm.
I had him on here before, and I hope to get him on here again because he does a great job at breaking down scientific knowledge and philosophical knowledge. Just trying to use layman terminology and
Yeah.
used anthropomorphism and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I think if people really want to get into the concept of understanding science or spirituality, I think people should look to his
I
channel.
mean, I look at that like this. I'm an African, and my people, we didn't separate science and spirituality. So, when I'm playing a Western game, if I'm debating science, of course I ain't gonna put no spirituality in it. But in my personal, how I look at the world, man, I don't separate it. I
No,
don't.
you're not, because it's like, okay, and this
That's
is one
why
thing
we
I
say
learned
we
about
truth
Ifa.
speakers. I don't separate
This is one thing I learned about Ifa, right? So
it.
like with the Orishas, like Babalu Aye,
Hmm.
um, and Osan and Inele,
Hmm.
those three Orishas, right? Babalu Aye represents healing and disease.
Diseases. Yep.
Yep, and Osan represents the plants and herbs. And also Inele represents medicine.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's like that's a beautiful thing. You can use those deities, right, to symbolize each things in nature. You know what
Nature.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like each
Like you were
you
saying
know what
earlier, like
I'm
you
saying?
were saying earlier about how a lot of the planets and a lot of stuff named after Greek deities and stuff.
Hmm.
We can do that. Like, why not? I mean,
Right.
to me, man, they need to be writing books in those languages, like textbooks. Like,
Hmm.
it should be Yoruba textbooks. They need to. That's the only way we're gonna advance our
Ooh.
cultures. It should be stuff like that.
Ooh, I read an article about science being translated into Yoruba language.
Yeah. Listen, we should even have we need to translate books into Patois, into Gullah Geechee. That's the only way these languages gonna survive. Why we can't teach in our own languages, even our Creoles and our continental languages? I mean, we serious about this thing. That's the kind of stuff we need to be talking about, man, for real. Because
Right.
like you said, I'm glad you brought that up earlier. European, when he named stuff, he used his mythology to name it. But if I do it, I'm pseudo. So like what's
Right.
going on, man?
Right, yeah. So the pseudo term only applies to certain people. So as long as, and I'm not knocking, I mean, because we are in a Western culture and we deal with Western ideology, I'm not saying that everything that every European put out there is false and not true.
Oh nah,
You know what I'm
nah,
saying? I'm not saying that. But if you just so reliant on everything and seeking validation from the European culture and European philosophers or whatnot, then that means that you ain't really, you're not really trying to separate yourself from that. You really just caught up in the
yeah. I mean, to me, being scientifically literate is about understanding the scientific method and understanding how it works. But other than that, if you just regurgitating everything someone says, That's not being scientifically literate. Like when me and the brothers, when I'm building with Rakim or when I'm building with Ngozi or somebody, yeah, we going through the information, but we coming up with our own hypotheses too while we studying this stuff. Like that's what real scientific literacy is, man. Like you don't a lot of people be regurgitating. That's all they do.
Right.
Whatever they said, that's what goes. Like you not questioning. You got to question the stuff too.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And then another thing people don't deal with is like medicine. Like when we talk about medicine, right, you can't just deal with a conventional medicine, mean, over the counter, insulin and all of that, etc. But you gotta look at the complementary medicine as well, like holistic healing and all of that,
Hmm.
integrated to medicine.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right, and that's my thing. Like even if some of that, even if some of that they call some of that holistic stuff pseudo or whatever. Thing about it is you can't, you shouldn't depend entirely upon that. Like don't just use that and say no, I'm not going to the doctor. No, like
Right.
the thing about herbs and stuff like this, that is a lot of that stuff, a lot of that medicine is just some herbs being synthesized anyway. So I
Say that
mean,
again. Say it for the people in the back because they ain't hear you.
a lot of medication is a lot of that medication is synthesized herbs anyway. You know, they got some of that stuff in there, some of those ingredients in there. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying go outside and pick a herb in your backyard and think it's gonna, you know, help your flu or whatever. Like, nah,
No.
see, that's when it gets pseudo.
Right.
But if you really want to look into this stuff, a lot of that stuff got synthesized herbs in it anyway.
Right, exactly, because the herbs was the primary medicine, and I do agree with M. Hotel when he said, "Let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food." I
Yeah,
agree with that
yeah.
because that
Oh yeah,
is your
eating right.
primary
I
medicine.
mean, you got to eat right. I mean, that's the biggest part of not getting sick, eating right. So yeah, you got to eat right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, you do. You gotta eat right, but yeah, that's important to know about integrative medicine. I mean, because you gotta know that there's certain holistic medicines that you cannot use to,
Yeah.
deal with a serious disease or anything that's aggressive,
Right.
right? And then,
Just like with regular medicine. Everything is for everybody. You know, you can't just take anything.
right, exactly, yeah, because some people are allergic to like certain type of medication.
Right.
Some people are allergic to that. Like
Exactly.
some people's body react to that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just like if you gonna deal with that, you really gotta deal with all of that for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Just like people try to say meditation is not, it's pseudo, but meditation has like great benefits to it.
Nah, I mean I got man, it's studies out here that meditation helps for real. See, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
These people not reading, they not studying for real. They
Right.
not.
You right.
If I can learn that from involving myself with this community, 80 to 90% of them cats, they not studying. They only study. And when they do study, it's biased. They only buying stuff that agrees with them. So it's like, come on, man,
Right. Right.
we gotta do better.
Right. You right. We sure do. We gotta do better. Um, but anything else you gotta say before we close it out? Like, do you want to give it any other thoughts?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered it. So I'm a, I'm definitely gonna start coming on here with you more though, so because I be busy. I don't be having time to do no shows, but yeah, we can build, man. I'm start being more active.
Okay,
We
yeah,
can definitely
just let
build.
me know when you're free, and hey, that'd be great. We let me know when you're free, and we can do that because it's a lot of things that we can build on. You know what I'm saying? We can build on history, we can build on spirituality, science, political
Definitely,
stuff, music.
definitely, yeah,
um,
all that, yeah, definitely.
yeah. Well, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I can get you on here one day and we can be able to do a great build. Yeah, but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you even giving your thoughts and commentary on this whole subject matter. And I also
Oh yeah,
appreciate everybody in
anytime,
the,
so
yes. Yeah, more definitely. I appreciate everybody in the chat tuning in. Shout out to the chat though. Shout out to the people that's watching. Make sure you watch the channel, like and subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, etc. If you really like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing on here. So I'm gonna be doing this more often. So I'm working on it, trying to get more and more people on here. But till next time, all right, y'all take it easy, man. Y'all be safe and peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany. I'm out. Peace.
Peace.